In 1944, three young men at Columbia University believed they had found something urgent, something that could change the way a person existed in the world. Decades later, one of them was asked about it, and this is what he said. I suppose in those years at Columbia we really did have something going. It was a rebellious group, I suppose, of which there are many on campuses, but it was one that really was dedicated to a new vision. It's practically impossible to define. Maybe it's just a term we sold ourselves, but it was trying to look at the world in a way that gave it some meaning. Trying, I suppose, to find values that were different and not accepted values, but at the same time, that were valid. He wasn't alone in his uncertainty.
From the very beginning, at least 1945, Kerouac and I did talk about, well, I don't know what the meaning of it was, but a new vision or a new consciousness.
Two of the three men who built it, decades later, both circling it without being able to land. Practically impossible to define. That gap between what it was and what remained is exactly where this channel begins. I disagree with Lucian, and this video is why. In 1944, the new vision was alive. Lucian Carr, Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac. Young, restless, convinced that the culture around them was a kind of living death. What they were building together wasn't a literary style. It was a complete reorientation toward existence. Kerouac himself gave us some clues in his novel Vanity of Douloise. He used fictional names throughout. Claude is Lucian. Rimbaud, Nietzsche, Yeats, Rilke, Alyosha Karamazov. This was not restless youth fumbling for meaning. This had intellectual architecture, a real one, and Lucian was at the center of it. Then Lucian killed David Kammerer, his obsessive stalker, and went to reform school for 2 years. The group never returned to the new vision directly. What had been vivid became something they mentioned only in passing. Excited about it once, vague on the details, the atmosphere had scattered. So what was it? At its core, 3 principles, but understand these are not instructions for writing, they are instructions for being. The first, eluding conventional morality, not rebellion for its own sake, something more radical, the complete dissolution of the framework that makes conformity feel like safety, the refusal to let society's definitions of a good life govern the shape of your own. The second, naked expression, no mediation between what you feel and what you say, no editing for approval, no performance of acceptability. What moves through you moves directly into the world and you let it go. But this is not simple defiance. It is an act of radical trust, an offering made to the entire world without knowing how the world will receive it. The third, derangement of the senses, deliberately breaking through the crust of habitual perception, through substances, through exhaustion, through ecstatic experience, anything that forces you to encounter reality as if for the first time. But here's the distinction almost nobody makes. Most people who orbited the beat universe could see it, they could feel it. Some, like Kerouac himself, could describe those who embodied it with remarkable precision. But seeing it and becoming it are entirely different things. But this was not a template for making art. The writing was residue. The life was the work. The shaman Carlos Castaneda understood something relevant here. When a person carries a strong sense of continuity with their past, obligations, guilt, the weight of who they have promised to remain, that continuity drains energy from the present moment. They are partly living in what they were. But when continuity is broken through rupture, through radical release, through a past that has no further claim on you, energy concentrates entirely in the present. Castaneda called these people luminous beings. They didn't simply live differently, they changed the experience of being near them. Cassidy, Corso, and Carr each carried that disconnection. They weren't performing the new vision, they were it. And Kerouac? He saw it more clearly than practically anyone alive. He described Cassidy with the precision of someone who understood exactly what he was witnessing, but he couldn't become it. His mother, his Catholic faith, the obligations he felt to who he had been, these were the threads of continuity that held him, luminous on the page, tethered in life. The New Vision scattered because it was never written down as doctrine. It was a shared atmosphere, and when the group fractured, the atmosphere went with it. But the pieces are still there, in the lives, the letters, the recordings, in the work that they left behind. Lucian said it's practically impossible to define. I disagree, and this initiative exists to prove it.